So I would like to show you some additional things that you can do with PowerPoint, which was not included in the book. And some of these items have been used by former students, and they were included in the examples that I showed you for the PowerPoints they created. So you'll find this document uploaded. And you can, uh, review, and you don't have to include everything here, but these are just some useful things, useful information for PowerPoint presentations. So I'm going to go over each one here. So there's 3 pages, and demonstrate, um, which will help you create your presentations. So I'm going to start with number 1, how to get started with your project. So to get started with your project, I recommend you create a folder. Okay, I've been working with my flash drive, so I'm going to continue that and create a folder in my flash drive. So I'm going to go to flash drive, which I'm already in here, right click, new folder. So we are going to be working on a project that will show different countries, right? So you choose which country you would like to visit or you've already been to, and you're going to create a project on that country. And so you would name the folder that country's name. I am going to demonstrate with Australia. So Australia. Okay. Then it says here, number 1, create new slides and type the headings. This will help you get organized so you know what information you need to research. So I'm going to go to a blank PowerPoint. Okay. So automatically it gives you the title slide, right? So you can put in Australia, type your name, bye. And then this is what I recommend. You don't have to do it this way, but I found it helpful. You create all the slides and just add the headings, right? So there'll be 14 slides total. So you start creating slides. So you go new slide, and choose whatever one you want here. You could always change it later. Title, content. Here, this is the second one will be geography. And demographics. And let's do third slide. Let's do that, it doesn't matter. Brief history. Actually, for brief history, I would like to have so I'm going to change it. So I don't want this layout, so I'm going to go and change it back to brief history. Okay, and then we have flag, government, etc. So I typed all the headings for all of the slides that I created. Okay, so there's 14 slides. And this just will make it easier for me going forward. So I'll see what I've completed, what I need to do. And I purposely created this with content because I want to demonstrate something later on. So you have your 14 slides here. And let's see what we do next. So now we're going to save this. Okay. So like with Word and Excel, when you open up a blank presentation, it starts out, in this case, presentation one. In Word, it was sample, it was document one, and then you have to rename it. In Excel, it was book one, and you rename it. And here we have presentation one. So we're going to rename it and save it in our folder, and just rename it with the name of your country. Okay, so we're going to go to File, Save As, this PC, and we're going to you're going to go to your flash drive or wherever you're saving, and I'm going to go to my folder, Australia, and this will be also Australia. Okay. All right, so we're ready to continue. How do you do research? Okay. So you will go to a search engine, and let's say I want to start with the history, right? So I'm going to use keywords here. So this is number 2, Australian history. Okay, and of course, the first thing that shows up is Wikipedia. I will allow you to use Wikipedia as long as you use other sources as well. So you go to History of Australia. Obviously, it's going to be a lot, right? So how do you choose what you want to include? Well, it's really up to you, whatever you think is interesting. I recommend something from the beginning, something from the middle, and something from what's happening right now. So I went through all this, I looked through some stuff, and I chose a couple of items, a few items. Should be about 3 to 4 bullet points per slide. Okay, so I will demonstrate what to do next. So I'm going to go back to my slideshow here, brief history. So I chose a few items, and I'm going to just type that in here. So from the beginning here, it was originally Australia was part of British Empire. Then you press enter, gives you another bullet point. Many people relocated to Australia from all over the world because gold was discovered there. All right. And then the third one can be today, Australian population has grown to about 25 million. Okay, so that's enough. Whatever you want to tell me, it's up to you. Just 3, 4 bullet points. Okay, whatever you find interesting. So I took this information, and please paraphrase. You can't just copy and paste. You have to use your own words, right? So, and I want you to include sources from where you got the information. So how can you do that? So basically, you highlight the link here, Control C, then you come back to your presentation, go to the sources slide, Control V or paste, and then press enter, and then you'll have space for more sources. Um, so yeah, so this is how you would do research and how you would get other sources. Now let's see how we can add images to the background. This is number 3. Okay. So I want to choose an image for this first slide for the background. So I'm going to go to my search engine. I'm going to go back here and let's see what I can do here. I'm just going to type Australia and see what shows up. Australia. Okay, and then we can go to images. So it's important, I explain here, number 3, that for background images and for foreground images, but especially for background, they have to be larger sizes. You can't just save these little thumbnails, okay? Because when you put in the background, it stretches it out and it becomes very pixelated. So you have to make sure that you're saving the actual image and that it is a large image. So if you go to tools here, you have different sizes. It should be about 1,000 or more for the background. So large would probably will give you 1,000 or more. So you can see here, choose an image that you like. Let's see. This one's good. Let's see what this will be like. Let's click on that. So right here in the bottom, it says the image size, right? So let's click on it and get the actual size here. Let's see. Oh, I think this is. Okay. All right, I think so. This is probably the actual size of the image because when you click more, it takes you other places. So this is the one here. So we're going to right click, save image as. Let's go back to my flash drive, Australia. Okay, and save it here. Save. Now let's go here. How do you add an image to the background? So you could either right click, format background, or in the design tab, you have format background. And what you do now is you click on picture texture fill. So when you click on it, it gives you something like this because it's not sure are you using a picture or texture, but we want a picture. So we're going to insert from file. And now let's find our picture. Insert. Okay. So before we do anything else, let's take a look at this over here and see what our options are. So whenever you insert a picture, you have to take a look over here. Right? So you see the minus here, -3, -3. That means that it's how the picture is positioned. Sometimes you want to move certain objects in the picture not to be seen. So you can do that. In this case, we want the whole picture to be seen, so we'll just put 0 everywhere. 0, 0. Okay. What else do we have here? So also, if we want to apply it to all of the slides, we click here. If we don't, we're just going to exit out and it stays only in the first slide. Okay. So the picture is very nice, but it doesn't work well with the text in the front, right? So it's very important to make sure that the background and the foreground work well together. So number 4, how to make background images and text work well together. So we have a couple of options here. So let's go back to the task pane that gives us option for the background. So we could either, again, right click or go to design and format background. So let's see what we have to work with here. First thing we can do is to make the background transparent. So right now it's very bright, vivid, but if we uh, decrease the transparency, you could still see the picture a little bit, but the foreground is more visible. So that's one option. Okay, if it doesn't work for you, let's try some other options. Um, Assign a fill color to the placeholder. That's what we did, not we did, but the examples, some of the students did that. So here we have our placeholder. Click on that. We have shape format, shape fill. So we can choose um, a fill color. You could even try to sample a fill color from, some, you use an eyedropper to sample a color from, there we go, from colors in the picture. You could also, yeah, so there's that. You could also make that transparent if you want. Okay. But if that doesn't work, text fill, shape fill, no fill. Okay. So we tried the transparency in the picture. We tried a fill color here. That doesn't work. If it does, that's great for you. You could also change the color of the font itself. So you, select that. Then you can try different effect here. And just by giving it a little bit of an outline, that could fix the issue. And you could move it to a new place. See something like that maybe, right? So in the word styles, you have options. So let's say I decide to do this. I don't need the box to be this big because it's only one word. So the placeholder doesn't have to be this big. I'm going to do that. I could also maybe put it over here. And then my name also doesn't have to be that big. You can size it, put it in the bottom, and you can change the color here as well to whatever you like. Let's see. Okay. So you can, change different things to make the foreground and the background work well together. So you have some options. So that was number 4. Let's see what else we got going on here. How would you assign different designs for every slide? So how to assign different designs to the background. This is number 5. So let's see. Let's see, I go over here. I want this one to stay as it is. I go over here. I go to design. And look what happens when I choose one. I'm going to click one. It doesn't matter. I'm going to click this. Okay. So look what happens. Here things go awry. So we don't want that. How do we fix this? So you right click, format background, and then you can just hide background graphics. But because it applied it before, we could just fix this up a little bit because it changes the colors and everything. So so now I have the same design for everything. But what if I want to have different designs on each slide, different pictures, etc. So you can do that. Let's try it for the second one. Let's say you want something else. So instead of left clicking it, you will right click. So you go on the second slide and then you would, okay, so we're going to choose one here. This one's nice. So we're going to right click and apply to selected slides. Okay, so we do that. Okay, so now we see that it only changed that one. So if you left click on it, it'll change all of them. But if you right click, you can choose to apply to selected slides. Okay. How about a gradient? A couple of students in the examples used gradients. So let's take a look over here. Let's say we want a gradient here. So we're going to do format background. And here we have gradients. So basically combinations of colors. So you can add different stops. You can add different colors to the stops. You can move things around. You can have different types, different direction. Okay. So if you want to add more stops, you can. If you want to get rid of stops, just click on it and delete a stop. Maybe too much. So something like this. If you want, let's say, give it a nice border like that, maybe. And then this could be in the middle. Okay. So you could always change things around. So that's another option, the gradient. So you can create that. But it's up to you if you want to use images in the background, gradients, if you want one theme for all the slides or different themes, it's up to you. All right, so number 6, how do you assign regular pictures on the slides? So let's say I want an image here, okay, of like a map or something like that. So we're going to go back to the internet and we can put in, let's go back here, Australian map. Or Australia map. Okay, it doesn't matter which one. Okay, images. So in this case, it doesn't have to be a large size. It could be any size. The 300-400 will work because it's going to be on the picture, on the slide, not as the background. So it's okay. So we'll just find a nice picture here. Okay, how about, let's see, what is this one? This one works. Well, it does have a little logo here, a website, but maybe this one. Okay, let's try that. So we're going to do right click, save image as. We're going to go to my flash drive, to the folder, save. Okay, let's go back here. And now we could either go through the placeholder. Yeah, let's do that. Or we can go through insert over here, but we have the placeholder, so that will work. So we have this here. We can move it middle, in the center, wherever you would like. We could also, so what else can we do here? Let's see here. Okay, so we could also do picture styles. So when you click on the picture, you have picture format. So you can do different kinds of styles, whatever works for you. Okay, that's fine. Okay, this one's good. So we have that. The reason for picture styles is if you don't add picture styles, all of your images will be either square or rectangular, and it gets a little boring. So this just gives a little bit more interest in your presentation. If, let's say, you want to change your mind about the picture style, you can go here and reset picture and size. Just picture. Right. I'm just gonna go back. Yeah, and actually, I like that one. Where was it? Where's this? Okay. All right, so how would you add an additional placeholder? So we have two placeholders here, and we want to type a little bit more over here, but there's nothing we can't just start typing. So you have two options. You could either change the layout of this slide to content. Okay. So now you have space to type. Or I'm going to do this. If you go to Insert, Text Box, you can draw a box and type in here. So you can still, fix the layout if you're missing a text box or placeholder. You can, if you want to type something else, you can make that happen. Let's see what else. Okay, that was number 7. Number 8, how to apply more than one effect to text or object. So we'll just stay with this one. You go to animations. Let's take a look here. So we have entrance effect. So it's how an object, a picture, shape, etc., text goes onto the slide. Emphasis how it acts on the slides, and then on the slide, and then exit how it exits the slide. And we have all kinds of effects options here, additional effects for entrance, emphasis, exit, and then we have motion paths, which we'll do later. So how would you add you could add more than one animation to an object. So you click on it. So let's start with the entrance effect. So let's say we have fly in, okay? And then if I choose something over here, it replaces the previous effect. So how do I have more than one effect? I'm going to undo that. So we have fly in, we could preview. And then instead of choosing it from here, you would go to add animation. So this, when I add animation, let's try spin. See, now it says 1 and 2. And then let's say I want another one. We'll do fly out. Okay, so preview, fly in, spin, fly out. So that's how you would add more than one animation to a picture. It could be text, it could be shape. Let me see what else here. Okay, let's do the motion path. So remember when the bull in the example jumped over the words thank you? So you could have that happen as well. So we're going to do that, but we'll use a different animal here. So we're going to search for a kangaroo. So this is number 8, also, how to add more effect. So we'll go to the browser here, and we could type in kangaroo. And you want to try to get a picture that doesn't have a background. Maybe a PNG or transparent, transparent background. Yeah, it's hard to get a picture. This shows that it says it's transparent, but it's hard to get a picture that has a transparent background. So if you can't find one, you have to look through all of these. Find one which has a solid background, solid white background, um, or it's easier to get rid of the background in PowerPoint. So I'll show you how to do that. So I found one that I liked before. I don't see it here, but basically you would right click, save image as, and save it in your flash drive. So I found an image that I liked and I saved it in my flash drive. And now I'm going to insert it to the last slide here, to the blank slide. Or I could say thank you for watching, just thank you. So I'm going to go to insert, pictures, this device, kangaroo, insert. All right, so I have this kangaroo that I like. So in the past, it was really easy to find images without backgrounds, but now for some reason it's more difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the background. So how can you do that? Click on it, picture format, yes, remove background. So let's see what happens. Background. So it took part of this, right? So I can mark areas to keep. So I'm going to keep the ears here. More. Okay, what else? Keep this, and the tail. All right, I think I got everything. And then I'm gonna click on keep changes. All right, so even if you can't find an image without the background, you can still get rid of the background. Just gonna make it smaller here. And let's say I want this kangaroo to jump from here and then all the way here. So I'm gonna click on the picture, go to animations, and I'm going to use a custom path. So you click on the custom path, you click on the picture, and then you pretty much just draw a path that you want the image to take. And then you double click. All right, so you could also change the duration if you want to go slower, then you have to be higher, the number. Okay, so you don't have to use this, it's just an option. But this is how you could create a custom path. You have to find a picture, save it in your flash drive or wherever you're saving it, insert it, and then click on the picture and create the path. Okay. Number 9, how to have 2 or more objects show up simultaneously. So for example, here. Okay, so we have to be careful when we change the theme because you see now it changed the where the heading is, so you have to be very careful the way you do things with the themes. Okay, I'm just going to move it up here so it's not in the way of anything. Okay, move this back. All right, so let's take a look at the numbers here. This one, okay, yeah. So what if you want the food to show up with every picture here, right? So the name will show up with the picture. So you have to rearrange this a little bit. Right now it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need 4 to come with 1. So you would go to move earlier. until it's a 2, and then you would go with previous. So it has to become the same number. And then we have a 2, so then the 4 would go earlier, and with previous. And the same thing with here. So this is a 4 already with previous. So basically, let's preview this. When the numbers are the same, they show up together. So for something like this, it would make sense to have the items, the picture and description of the food show up together. Okay, let's see what else we got here. How to include an animated GIF in your presentation. So basically, you just have to search for what you want to be animated. So let's see, what would make sense here? Let's take a look at here. We can have a flag maybe animated over here, right? So let's do Australian flag and then type in animated GIF. So it doesn't mean that all of them are animated. You still have to check. This one works. This one works. Okay, so let's choose one that we like here. This one's nice. So we right click, save image as, put it in our folder, save, and then we go back to our to our presentation, and it's basically just like inserting the picture. So you would click here, insert, and here we go. So you could make it larger, smaller, whatever you like. You could move this. Okay. The G for some reason looks much larger than the rest of the text, but whatever. So yeah, that's another option you have. You don't have to include it, but it's interesting. And you could pretty much find any image. You just have to put in the word animated GIF after the search keyword. Number 11, how to run the slideshow automatically. So if you take a look in transitions, right now each slide goes into the next slide when you click the mouse, but you could also set it up so it would transition and show up. The next slide would show up after however many seconds. So you could either do it on mouse click or you can set up the time. It's up to you how you want to do this. How to rehearse the presentation. So I'm just gonna go back to the mouse click, because what I've noticed is that students get really nervous presenting. You don't have to present this, but when you do in a different class, I've noticed that it's better for students to use the mouse unless they're really, experienced in it. But you can rehearse and see, actually it's this one here, rehearse timings, and see how long it takes for you to, how long you spend on each slide. So rehearse timings. So let's say you're going to be presenting and it's recording you here. And then you go to the next slide, talk about geography. I'm just going to go quickly, but you would spend the actual amount that you would on each slide. Go to the end, and it's asking the total time for your slideshow is whatever. Do you want to save it? If you say yes, then the next time you present, that's how much it's going to spend on each slide. Whatever you spend on each slide, it recorded it, and it will go to the next slide, whatever it recorded. So you have to be careful unless you're really good at this. Um, this was just to practice. So you would just click no, but you would see how much time total it took for you to do the presentation, because sometimes you get limits, well, most of the time. So you would see if let's say if it's less than 10 minutes, because if you go over, sometimes you can lose points, or if you're doing it at a professional level, you know, it just won't be professional if you go over too much. So this is a good way to see how much time you're spending on your presentation. Um, Printing options. Let's say you want to print. We go here. You have you could either print full pages, notes pages. So if you had some notes, it will show up here. Outline gives you just the text. And then you have handouts. I find this one very useful because you could write little notes on each slide here. This is just printing options I wanted to show you. Also, you should always do spell check, right? Spelling. Some shortcuts. So we know to go to the slideshow, we could click here, or we can go here. Also, if you click F5 on the keyboard, let's see here. It will take you to the slideshow. Escape will take you back to the normal mode. If, let's say, you have a large presentation and you're somewhere, I don't know, 8, whatever, 9, let's see, 10, and you want to start from this slide, if you click on Shift F5, it'll take you to the current slide, not the first slide. Okay, so these are just some additional useful features that you can work with if you choose to. So please review the requirements, and you can incorporate any of these features, but make sure you incorporate all of the requirements first, and then additional features, it's up to you.